Hey, happy Thursday, April 30th, everybody. Almost to the weekend here. And today's assignment will cover today and tomorrow. So, again, you can choose how you would like to do this. You can do it all today, you can do it all Friday, you can split it up. But the assignment is due Friday by 9 p.m. Okay. So, if you take a look at your options here, what's below, you've got a couple of things. First thing I want to point out is your actual assignment. We're going to do a virtual lab through a company called Glencoe. We've done this before. Um, but if you look at Google Docs, you can see that this is going to be the assignment that you're going to type into and eventually turn in. Okay. Then there's a link to the actual Glencoe assignment. And then, like we've had in the past, I put a cell organelle help sheet on there. So let me just show that to you really quick. If you click on the help sheet at any time while you're doing this assignment, it's going to show you a picture of the plant and the animal cell that are all labeled and have the function and job of all the different parts, okay? So if you need to refer to that, there's no problem in checking out those notes, okay? So that doesn't have to be completed. It's just there to help you. All right, let's go back. So on the assignment, you'll notice there's a Google Doc that you have to fill out, and then there's a link. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Google Doc. And when you get there, it's going to look like it's overwhelming, right? There's a lot of directions. I'm going to go through this part right here. So I don't want you to be too worried about it because I'm going to basically show you how to do that. So there's not really a need to read that unless you get confused, okay? But let's read that top part together. It says directions. Even though we can't see cells, it's helpful to think of them and compare them to other things we do see and understand, like schools or factories. For example, in a school, the boss or the nucleus is like Mrs. Price or Mr. Batiste because they are in charge of the whole school, right? So they're like the nucleus. The front doors that are locked and controlled by Mrs. Zawinski in the office is kind of like the cell membrane because it's on the outside and it decides what lets things in and out of the cell. And then another example, the hallways of our school are kind of like cytoplasm. So if our whole school was the cell, the cytoplasm holds everything together and the hallways kind of connect and hold everything together. So there's an example. This activity then has you comparing parts of a cell, not to a school though, but to a factory. So we're going to compare the organelles to the parts in a factory. And hopefully you'll kind of understand that a little bit better because a lot of times it's hard to imagine what the cell looks like. So to be able to think of it as the parts of a factory hopefully will help. But when we do this and we compare things in similar ways, we call these analogies. Okay, so here's what you're basically going to do. You're going to click on the Glencoe Virtual Lab. Okay, it can also be accessed by going to this link and clicking on the link. Okay, when you get there, you're going to see this awkward looking thing. Okay, and if you notice, and there's going to be some interesting volume that goes along with this, but if you click on animal, it'll show you the shape of the animal. So you've got this blob circle. If you click on plant, it'll show you more the box like, okay? But we're going to start with animals. So make sure you click on animal first, okay? And then what you're going to do is you can see your mouse as you scroll through all of this, it lights things up, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick anything I want and I'm just going to click on it. So I definitely know what part this is. So I'm going to click on this. When I click on it, okay, it's going to make a funky noise. Then it's going to give me a clue. It says, if this were like a factory, this part would be the factory walls. Okay, so then what I have to do is I have to say, okay, let me think about what part this is. Something that's like the walls, so it kind of keeps things in and out or protects them. And this is an animal cell, so there's really only one option. That's got to be the cell membrane. So what you can do, even if, so you can either know it right away, or you can go to this part on the chart that says name and click through, and kind of an awkward sound that it makes, but it'll go through all the different parts of a cell. Aha! So when I get to the one that I think fits, I'm going to click on cell membrane, okay? Then there's one last part that I have to do. I have to find through these arrows what the function is, okay? Well, if I think about it, the cell membrane we know is like factory walls, and I just said that it lets things in and out. So now I kind of have to look for a function on these arrows that talks about letting things in and out. So I'm going to start clicking. Does it produce energy? No. Is it a system of channels that moves things around? No. Is it a sac that stores food? No. Does it package proteins, which means like gets them ready? No. Does it direct the cell's activities? No, that sounds like the nucleus to me. Does it help maintain and repair cell structures? No. Does it make proteins? No. This one takes a long time to get to. Is it a jelly-like substance? No. Is it the outer boundary of the cell? And does it regulate substances that enter and exit? Ooh, that sounds like the right one. So when I think all three of these match, okay, I'm going to click on the check button. And if I do, I'm going to hear a sound, and it's going to keep that color and label it. There we go. So now I know this is the cell membrane. It stays in color, okay, so it doesn't go on and off, and it says cell membrane. So what I'm going to do before moving on is I'm going to go back to my chart, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and look at my chart, and I'm going to try to find it on the chart. So what I'm going to do is go over here, and I'm going to look for the description, which we put in here already, of what it does. So let's see, open space. There we go, factory wall. So outer part of the factory lets things in and out through doors, right? So I found on my lab that organelle is the cell membrane. So I'm going to type that in, cell membrane. Okay, then, W. Then what I have to do is type in the function, so what its job is. So, and I can copy this directly from the site, or I can kind of put it in my own words. So when I go back to the site, I notice it says it's the outer boundary of the cell. It regulates the substances that enter and exit the cell. Well, I know an easier way to say that. I'm just going to say lets things in and out of the cell. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to write lets things in and out, and out of the cell. Okay, and I just completed part of that chart. Okay, so notice how it doesn't go in order. Okay, I'm going to really click on anything I want. So really go by what's the what you're doing with the colors and clicking on the lab, okay? And then if you notice here, even though it got split up on the pages, we did already do one for you. So notice this. This is the lysosome. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one so you can see it too, okay? The lysosome is this funky looking one right here, okay? We didn't learn about it, but if you click on it, it says Recycling and Maintenance Center. So, and you do have to do this one, okay? So I'm going to go back. And if I notice that it's called a lysosome, and it helps maintain and repair or digest waste. Okay. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on. And you can always turn off the volume if this is super annoying. I don't know why. I don't mind the noise. Lysosome. And then I got to find something about repairing stuff. There. Helps maintain and repair cell structures, digest waste. So once I think that's correct, I'm going to check on it, okay? And it's already there. But what's kind of nice is since you didn't really know this one, we put that one in there for you, okay? So now you're going to go through and do all the other ones. So for example, maybe I'll click on this one because I totally know what this one is. I know this structure is probably the nucleus. And if you look at the clue, it says manager. So again, I'm going to go over to my screen and I'm going to look for where it says manager. Whoop, there it says the boss. And I'm going to type in what I think it is and then what the job is. And remember, I can, once I have all of that in here, I can click check and make sure that's correct. Okay, so I'm going to do all the parts in the animal cell. So you're going to stay on the animal cell until all these are filled out. Okay, then when you get to the bottom two, I made them green because those are two special parts, hint, hint, that are only in a plant cell. So what you're going to have to do on the last part is go into plant cell. Okay, find those two special parts. Okay, and there are some hints. So if you look at here, there's hints, outer fence of the factory and solar powered generator. Okay, once you find those, you can then complete them just in the plant and finish out your chart. Okay, so the goal for today and tomorrow is to try to find these all in the lab and fill them out. Okay, and that is your assignment. And then when you're done, please make sure you submit it. Okay. Again, you do not have to go in order on the chart, and the last two parts in green are only found in the plant cell, so I do those last, okay? Best of luck, everybody, and please don't hesitate if you have any questions. Okay, happy weekend, everybody. Hopefully the rain stops.